So we're going to start like with updates on container updates with the .NET 8, right? So there are like a lot of new updates, and if you are familiar with containers, you're going to see that like what do you expect in containers, like every single time that you're using them. As a developer, I want like images to be smaller and optimized, right? So your code can run faster. And we're going to see a lot of updates on this session. And I just want to get going because I know that I think I have like 20 minutes, Shouty, just to go through the slides and some coding so I can share with you guys. So before we can start, just a quick introduction. My name is Marcel Medina. I'm a playground enthusiast and coder. Enthusiast because, well, not sure if you heard about the playground app on playgokids.com. So I worked on that and I do like just for fun. I also like work as a practice lead at Datacom, and that's my blog. So I'm also similar as Shouty. I'm a Microsoft MVP and I'm engaged with the community. Around the updates, right? So the product team, I'm gonna come up out of my video here. So what the product team, like they had like multiple requests, right? So what they decide to come and bring like in terms of updates on .NET 8 containers. So images should be small. So basically you can pull like things faster, right? So you don't want to download hundreds and hundreds of megabytes only to get like your container to start. So they focus also like on security. So basically now we have rootless execution and optimize images with like no shell, no package manager, right? I'm going to show what that represents, like as an example. So people also request for compliance. So basically, people don't want dependencies that they don't need, right? So that's why you're going to see they have much smaller images with less dependencies. Well, images also need to be composable. So you need to apply your level of customizations, right? So you have the base image, but you can create your images or layers on top of that. And it should be compatible also. This is very specific, but before on .NET 7, there were like Alpine images. And what happened, they use a specific library, muzzle libc, but now you have option to use glibc. What that is just like functions that leverage OS libraries, right? They are libraries that leverage OS functions on Linux, basically. So they focus on that as well. This is more specific to like IoT containers, for example, right? Images that are very small. And also to be supported. So if you want like to leverage an image, you want someone to back that up. And Microsoft does that with .NET 8 images. Going to the next slide. One statement that they brought up is that we no longer have general purpose images, right? So what happens that they're still there, but the future of the cloud apps is not general purpose container images. You're gonna see that what you want to leverage, as I said, optimize images that are targeting the specific OS, right? Linux versions, architectures. And you're going to see that's what the team has created. Let me bring like the full screen. And what you're going to see here from the left side, you're going to see like that's an image and just like improvements in size. You're going to see like from the top on this left, we have like all of them, we have Ubuntu 22.04 version. That's like the code name for that is Jammy, but you can see that this one is 86 megabytes compressed, right? While there are like different versions, so like chiseled, composed, and Jammy and trimmed, chisel AOT. In here you can see like we have like only 8 megabytes. So wow, it's massive, like the difference, right? So depending on where you're running and the features that you need, like under the images, you can end up like using this one, or you can end up in using this one, which is so it's good like you have options, right? Just bring like some sort of context on .NET 7. And for this one, we had like let me bring like my pointer here as well. So SDK, right? So by default, general purpose images. Uh, here down here, like Ubuntu, we have like the OS. We have like more libraries around the runtime. Some dependencies, you can see 46 megabytes. The runtime up on top of that, 75 mega. If you want to leverage ASP.NET, you have like more on top of that, 90 mega. If you want to leverage the whole SDK, 301 in total, right? So things get like really large. And we're running like this one, size are compressed, and that's a sum, right? So as you put more things, you just make things bigger, right? The other thing that we have in here is that who am I? This is running under root, right? So it's basically the main account, right? That runs the container. While on .NET 8, right? So there are like the introduction of those chiseled images. You can see here the same, even like in Ubuntu, like nothing is added, right? So on top of it, or under the base image, it's simply 0. But the libraries, you can see here that it's 5.6, like runtime depths, runtime 38, ESP 49. If we are to compare before and now, well, this one is 90, like for ASP.NET. Now it's 49. So you can see like reductions, right? So that's pretty good. And even here, like you can see that the command who am I? It's running under the context of an app, a different account, a rootless account for security purpose. And when you look like a little bit further on this image, like chiseled and .NET AOT, right? It's a ahead of time compilation. So basically, this is a new feature on .NET 8 that allows you to bundle, let's say that, like the compiler bundle your codes with intermediate language, right? So basically, your application is all there, like during the compilation generates a binary that contains other references. And what that means is that you have you don't need the container, the compiler itself, like a jitter. It's called like jitter that resolves the dependencies dynamically. That doesn't happen. And with that, you have well, a larger payload, a larger executable, but you have much faster, more optimized binaries, right? So that's in general, like for AOT, it's going to be very specific. There are some libraries that are not supported, but you have this option now on .NET 8. All right, so similar as before, depending on what you need, like for AOT, like 5.6 mega, like which is really small, right? And in here we have like this runtime depth extra, which includes more like libraries. This ICU and TZ data is for around localization, globalization. So still like really small images. In the end, depending how the level of libraries or the tiers of your containers that you have referenced, right? Different images. You're going to have like an API that ends up with 18 megabytes, for example. I'm going to show like a demo because now we're going to get to code, right? So we're here for just to see like how it works. Let me bring my other screen in here. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this well. I'm not sure if I need to zoom in a little bit more, but I hope that this one is enough. And when we look like this example here, it simply have a console app. And what it doesn't do much. It's just like saying a hello to the OS description. under this OS architecture. This is only for printing, right? Where this app is running on. So if you're looking here, even like when you look at like your CS project file, this is standard, right? Out of the box, nothing was customized. We're just by default leveraging .NET 8. You can see some properties here that are commented out. I'm gonna be doing some experimentation with those. And you can see here that the main library that we need, we're dealing with console app. So we need like this package, right? Under this new version on .NET 8. So this library is responsible for, well, identifying what your application does. Right? It contains some sort of SDK that defines, if you don't specify an image, it's going to generate an optimized image for you, which is very clever. But if you want to specify things, you can do it through those properties, right? What I want to do is just, for example, I have like my application here, and I'm not taking advantage of anything. I'm just saying, okay, I just got this vanilla console app. I just want to containerize. So what sort of commands I need? I need this one, .NET publish underscore publish container. This one tells, okay, library, looks at my application and generates the container for me, right? So this one is going to create my container. And you're gonna see here that it's still building, but it picked this runtime 08. Let me remove my screen here. Just bear with me. Okay, come back. All right. So if I am to zoom in here, you can see that it picked up automatically this runtime 8.0. Okay, and it did that. So if not sure if you're familiar with Docker, but so images created and published on your local registry, if you're using Docker, that's where like it gets, right? One of the things I want to say and show here is that this is the size of my image, 193 megabytes, right? I didn't do anything, and that was my, how can I say, that was the size that was created for me. If I get to run that, I could just do it, okay, I'm just like remotely to my hello.net under the tag latest. I don't need to specify latest. But if I run that, well, you can see that the default image that .NET 8 uses Debian, right? So that's the default OS that's going to be used under my Linux x64, right? So it's interesting to see that, but you can specify the images, right? But if you don't do it, you get Debian by default. One of the things I want like to run as well, I can just run like these commands just to say, okay, run this bash under this hello.net and say like, okay, who am I, right? Well, it shows me that, okay, I am app. So I don't have the root execution. Which means that, okay, I'm running on a constrained, more like constrained environment. If I was to run this, for example, I could, like nothing stops me from running as the root. I could do that. But by default, I simply like running with the app, and that kind of allows different libraries or to be executed or not, right? Different levels of permissions. If I was to run this, for example, on this container and see like what I have in there, I have some files, right? But let's say someone have, let's say hijacked, but maybe they got like onto my container. That was compromised, and people try to delete. What I'm doing here, I'm doing a delete, right? Remove this file. And what's gonna happen? Well, I guess permission denied, right? So that was one of the updates on .NET 8 that came up, rootless accounts, right? So that's like one of the updates. We have like more around those tags in here. Let me clear this one. And clear. And I'm gonna create like a publish trimmed version, right? So what I can do in here, I could just come with my, where is that? Publish container. Let me grab something ready. So I don't need to type everything because I don't have like a lot of time. Let me create like this trimmed image, right? So what is gonna happen is that some libraries are not going to be available under the on my image. And one of the things I can see here, that's optimizing the assemblies. Okay, so it's doing like some work to make things more like just faster. And the other thing I can see here is that now it's targeting the OS, right? Before it wasn't like that. It wasn't defined, but now it's being specified. And that was created. If I come back in here and show Docker images, well, I got less, right? 144. So this is 50 megabytes less. And I could go on, really, like with chiseled, Jamie chiseled. It's more like a optimized image. I could just say, okay, I just applying this tag in here. So create like this new container image for me. And it's being optimized. And well, we're going to end up with like an image that's much smaller, right? And you can see that the image that was referenced, runtime depths, and if I come in here, gem chiseled, right? So that's another base image was specified. And if I come in here now, look at that, like, wow, that's just insanely smaller, right? There are trade-offs, okay? For this to be kind of trimmed and sliced and chiseled, some features like, for example, bash, right? Same commands that I had before. With this one is still gonna run. Never mind. I'm gonna put like this one when it's IoT. But like there are some sort of commands that are not gonna be being able to run. Bash is still there on this one. We can remove bash. I don't want like my images to have that because I'm never ever going to jump to this box in here like through bash. So what I can do, right? I can produce another image in here, control AOT, right? Let me say this one. I'm gonna say AOT. And well, if I get like to run this image, okay, let me just bring that one because like I'm creating those images and well, they still run, right? So for the purpose that I have, they're running well. You can see here like for AOT, we have this one, it's generating native codes, right? If I get to run, I'm running the same, right? Hello.net AOT. This one is Ubuntu, right? So by default, according to because we specify that you want the AOT published, it's interesting that the library that we added in here, the containers, picked up those properties and selected what's specific for IoT that supports what I need. And as I was mentioned before, right? If I want to run the bash in here, what's going to happen? Sorry, not this one. It was AOT. AOT. All right. So you can see, so bash executable file not found, okay? Which means that things were, well, in this one, chiseled, optimized, and a lot of reference were removed. If you get to look at the size now, okay? Well, AOT 17 mega. We can go like even smaller than that, right? So let me just, okay, Ctrl K U, Ctrl K U. Let me bring like this one. And we're gonna do like, we're gonna go even better, to be honest. AOT chiseled, okay? Not run. I want to publish AOT chiseled. All right. That's going to do like the same like native codes. And what's gonna happen is that we're gonna have a smaller image. And this one is called the Jammy Chiseled IoT. This one is a nightly build so far. But you can see that this one, it's specific for IoT. If I look now, Docker images, well, compare like to the at the beginning, where we had like 193 mega, now we have 15. Wow, that's great, right? So that's it's pretty good. What I can do, I can like do the publishing. Publishing to where? Like I could do publishing to my container registry. Well, but I have like a container registry, a local one. No, I don't want to publish the local one. I want to go to Azure. All right. So, for example, one of the things also another update from the .NET team is that now I can publish with the same command onto like my registry. Okay. So what you're gonna see here is that it's going to do like uploads under the different layers. Different layers that are parts of the container. And if I jump to my Azure environment, maybe I zoom in here. Control. Okay, this is my repository. Right now, if I refresh that, I don't have any sort of hello.net. So that's in there, right? So that was just uploaded. I have my AOT tag in here. So, well, I think like that's what I had to share. And I just want to bring the slide back and just quickly bear with me. Let me just bring the controls that I need. All right, this and this. Okay, just like some references for you guys, if you want to check like what happens and experiment with yourselves. Go like to, this is my blog post, I create like where you can generate Docker images, .NET containers, right? And also the team, the container app team created this container workshop. All of the examples I shared are available in there, and you can just check like yourself later on. All right, thank you. Shouty, back to you.
Yeah, that's cool. I was wondering, maybe before I ask, but anyone has questions about container to .NET 8?
Yeah. Any benefit of using the container, I believe deploying in AKs, right? Right, like using Azure or over using app services environment.
Can you hear us? Maybe you can.
Yeah, so like just comparing like whether to do like a container. The same container can be deployed to Kubernetes or as an app service, right, for containers. Up to you, but the same image is completely compatible, right? So I don't know if that was your question. Anything else like I need to clarify?
So if you are deploying to app service, do you still have to optimize, or is that done for you by Microsoft?
No, you need to specify that during your build process, right? So when you have like your CI/CD, you need to make sure that you're publishing with the specific tags, right? You can do it if you're using, so going back in here, right? So if you're using those properties, right, and you're compiling your solution, just like you're in your publishing, .NET publish, that's more than enough for you to do the work, really, for you. So you don't need to specify extra tags or attributes on the command line. But what I was doing here is just changing the tags, right? So basically, so that's why I need to specify things. But if you know like what particular container family you're targeting, maybe you have like the base image, you're good. You could just do .NET publish, and then you could just get like the outputs in the the baseline image that you need.
Thank you.
That's cool. I'm curious. If you use AOT, would it have higher performance than normal view?
Yeah, the AOT now is well, it depends on what would be like the purpose of your app, right? But there are limitations with specific libraries, for example, where you have dynamic dependency resolution, right? For example, AutoMapper, right? AutoMapper uses like reflection in that. Libraries like that, where you have like dynamic dependency resolution, they don't work with AOT. For AOT to work, you need to have all of the references available, right? So they need to be static resolution, right? So they cannot be dynamic. Provided you have that, then like you could just target this is publish AOT here. Like I'm saying like regardless if you're using containers or not, you need this. Right? This is what you need for AOT to run.
It's cool. Any other questions? Good.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate
you.
the time.